everybody. Welcome back to Reason Rises. This is episode 4, and I'm happy that I was able to wrangle an extreme leftist, a violent extremist of the worst kind, my friend Jonathan Canning, who is not an extremist, but who is what I would call a pretty left-wing Democrat. But what we were discussing during our prep is that even that is kind of a hard label to fairly put on anybody, because one of the big differences between Democrats and Republicans is Republicans are very, very good at towing the party line. They're very good at sticking to whatever the party wants them to stick to, and they oftentimes feel so passionate about one certain issue, let's call it abortion, that they will vote for somebody despite maybe hating a lot of other things about them, because they are so passionate about that one issue, or two or three issues for that matter. And, you know, Democrats are no different in the way that they think. We also will have one or two issues that are really, really important to us, but I think that we are less likely to toe the party line if we see that somebody is, if the good outweighs the bad on somebody. Does that make sense, or does it not? Am I talking gibberish?
No, and I honestly, I don't think that what you're describing as far as, a one issue voter, right? Like that exists on both sides of the spectrum, in my opinion.
So would you, okay, so bad description, but what we were talking about in prep is that John is not extreme leftist on all issues, and he applies a lot of critical thinking. And one thing he specifically said is, if I'm presented with new information that counters what I've been saying, I'll change my viewpoint. I'll change my opinion. I could be right or I could be wrong about this, but in my experience, right-wingers do seem less likely to do such a thing. They seem to me to just be more loyal to the party. And so I don't know. It's a tough conversation. Even that, I mean, we could spend an entire separate
Just
podcast on
debating
that. Like what is a libtard, and what is, what do we even have a name for extreme right-wingers like libtard? Do we have some offensive name that we've given them?
I see maggot sometimes.
Maggot?
Yeah, you do maggot with the T on, the MAGA with the
Right,
T
like
on the
MAGA,
end of it.
right.
Yeah, I've never used it, but I've seen it.
I haven't heard that. That's kind of nasty.
It is pretty gross. I'll agree. But so is libtard.
It is, but that's a big, again, that's a pretty good example of the difference. One difference between the two parties is, let's go Brandon, libtard, all that stuff really takes off on the right-wing sphere, whereas we don't even have a word for them that's widely used. I've never heard maggot before.
Yeah, I think I exist in spheres on the internet that you don't.
Right, exactly, and that's why he's a good guy to talk to, who knows stuff I don't know. So, so what are the issues that make you, if somebody is going to label you an extreme leftist, sorry for bumping my mic there, folks. If someone's going to label you an extreme leftist, what issues are you extreme left on? You said the environment.
Yeah.
Trans rights, right?
Trans rights, LGBTQ rights is
all
as a
LGBTQ.
Whole, yeah, like why leave any of them out?
Are there any other social issues that you are like, that is enough to change your vote?
That not really. I mean, there's things I would like to see happen in this country that are slow moving, things like the Affordable Care Act and and socializing medicine, or helping homeless people or feeding people, weird stuff like that.
And you said the Grand Canyon is like your religion, so that is that what made you so hardcore environmental on that side?
I mean, even before that, like I grew up here. I mean, you and I have both seen what has happened over the last 30, 40 years.
Right.
Right? Like it's a playground, and it's, quite frankly, it's getting loved to death.
Right. Yeah, I like that phrase, loved to death.
Yeah. When I first became a guide, that was a huge moral conundrum that I had.
What do you mean guide? Tell our listeners what kind of guide you are.
I'm a hiking and backpacking guide, so I do stuff around and the Grand Canyon.
Okay. And that were you already extreme on your environmental viewpoints before, like as extreme as you are now, or did it make you even further to the left on environmental issues when you started guiding at the canyon?
No, I think I was already, I wouldn't even say it's extreme, right? Like, I just don't think we should clear cut everything. And I'm not so naive to think that, we have to stop every mine. We have to stop. I also really enjoy my cell phone in my car, refrigeration,
Right,
right? Like these are modern things that we're not going to get rid of,
right.
right? It's just we can do it more responsibly.
Okay, so even someone who considers themselves extreme left when it comes to environmental issues is still saying, but we all have to make compromises because of the world that we live in.
Right. One of my favorite things is people going out in plastic kayaks to protest an oil rig. Right? Like and I
He
get
means
it.
because
Like,
the plastic comes from petroleum, so the irony is
yes,
what he means.
yeah. Um, but at the same time, I really feel, especially this administration, has put profits in front of the proper safeguards, the safety rails to preserve the environment. I mean, you can look around here. You have just up the hill. Our entire water table is contaminated with arsenic because of it.
Mm-hmm.
And every municipality in this valley spends millions every year filtering out that arsenic,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um, Another great example is up in Canyon City. There's a uranium mine. The first guys that had it had this tank for everything. Um, it was concrete lined. The next company that bought it just put some plastic up, and now you have a Superfund site. And the Superfund site being, is going to cost billions of dollars to clean up this radioactive mess that has leaked down from the mountain.
And we already
into
had
the
one that
basin.
had to be cleaned out, the one that's next
Oh yeah,
the tailings
the
ponds.
tailings. Oh, that's still there, man. They just put dirt over the
They
top
covered
of
it. They put native plants over it. I mean, I think that the idea was that the plants eventually get through the cover and that they soak up the bad shit. I think that's isn't it? Isn't that the concept?
I don't think so. I think it was because for years put all their sewage waste on it to keep it from blowing away.
Right.
And I think that was you know, part of the thing with Freeport McMoran buying from, who owned it before?
Phelps Dodge.
Phelps Dodge. Buying it from Phelps Dodge is that Phelps Dodge had to cover all that up.
Right. So anyway, to get away from local issues, sorry, folks.
It's the example I know.
No, it's actually it's a fantastic example, and it's a reason why people should care about the environment in their local area. You know, I think people wind up assuming that left wingers are for the environment's sake, rather than for human beings' sake. And here's something that I always want to get across, because I am a Democrat, and I do believe in environmentalism to a degree.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not. Well, I mean, you and me might be equal on our feeling on that, but the here's the overarching thing: Earth's going to be fine, no matter what. We could spray anything we want and mine anything we want and cut down any trees we want. In 1.5 million years, it's gonna be fine.
Hmm.
We'll be gone. There'll be new species here. The plants will come back. There'll be different plants. The Earth is a big rock with life on it.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have to be here. Like the Earth does not give a fuck if we're here or not. It's in my view. Maybe you see it as a thinking thing.
How many extinction events have we had?
Well, we're in the middle of one right now. I know
But that before
I don't know.
anthropological extinction events?
I don't know, but enough to where we should be expecting that we're not going to be here forever.
Oh, obviously not.
Yeah, so I'm not, at least my opinion, I'm not worried about the Earth for the Earth's sake. Again, Earth is going to be fucking fine. It knows how to take care of itself.
Right.
But
humans are fragile.
Humans
man.
are the ones that I'm worried about, particularly my children and my grandchildren, if my kids are even able to have kids, because this world is headed a really weird place right now. So I don't want to get off on that tangent, but
yeah. I want to discuss the Anthropocene.
So the era is not going to last forever.
Mm-mm.
But so I'm not worried about the Earth for her sake, but we should worry about it for human beings' sake. And when you are driving a diesel down the road and you decide that you want to, roll coal and whatever, and you think you're being so awesome. And I even know that there are people out there who will purposely use up as much fossil fuels as they can for various different motivations. Sometimes it's, fuck you, my dad works at the mine. The more we mine, the more that we pump, the more money that everybody makes. Some people literally just do it because fuck the libtards. This guy's driving a Prius. I'm going to coat him in the soot from my truck, which, by the way, is not great for your fucking truck. I mean, it's not good for your engine.
Yeah.
But I think that attitude is so ignorant because what you are doing is you're fucking yourself, you're fucking your kids, you're fucking your grandkids. If you really don't care about me, that's fine, but you should care about your own family. And you should care about your own neighborhood. And you should care about whether the vegetables that you grow in your garden are edible.
Mm.
Like, everything filters down to the individual. So what's the level of extremism that you're willing to go to keep other humans safe? Other people you care about? Like, how important is this? What level of activism would you go to?
I mean, protests, dude. Like, that's pretty much as far as I would go with any of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
And that might be that extreme of like just standing in front of a bulldozer and getting arrested for it, but
is it important enough to you that you would accept a terrible candidate if they were just environmentally conscious?
I don't know. Um, that would be interesting to see. Like, I never thought that I'd see half this stuff repealed that's getting just gutted right
Yeah.
now.
Well, let's say that a Trump came along. Let's say that a left-wing Trump came along, right? He says, grab him by the pussy. He's never paid a fucking contractor in his life. He stiffs everybody who's ever been near him. If you make friends with him, you will, at some point, wind up getting fucked in the ass. He's just an absolutely terrible human being, but he's super into environmental stuff. Like, he will do anything to protect the environment. Are you voting for that guy?
I don't know. I would have to say, like, I don't like Newsom at all. Right?
Why not?
I don't know.
Smugness?
Yeah, like he's just an arrogant asshole.
Right, the same
Right?
reason I don't like, who's the girl on MSNBC that I can't stand?
Maddow?
Yes, Rachel Maddow.
Okay.
I just can't fucking watch her because she's too smug. Is that how you feel about Newsom?
Yeah, but I mean, obviously, when we didn't send anybody to the climate summit down in Brazil, Newsom was there.
You mean COP, which is happening right now?
Yeah.
Right.
So.
Yeah, and interestingly, we were listening to the COP proceedings on our way over here, and apparently we are. There will be a correction on the screen if I'm wrong, but I believe that we are at 1.5 degrees right now as far as how much the global average temperature has risen, which is much lower than we thought it was going to be. We were targeting 2, right?
Right.
And we thought we predicted, or they predicted, like 2 years ago, that we had already blown past that. And new studies are showing we're actually probably closer to 1.5. So we are making progress on that. But yeah, Newsom, other Democrats went down there. And the idea behind going down was, pardon me, the idea behind going down was to show that even though the president won't send, his cavalry, we as a country still want to be represented there, even if the official guy doesn't want anything to do with it.
Well, what's the statistic that, and I'm probably getting this wrong, Newsom keeps saying that California is the 8th largest economy in the world.
It used to be 12th. It sounds right. Maybe.
Yeah, I saw some interview with him where just like, eat your heart out, Germany. Like, that's crazy that we have one state that produces more GDP than an entire European country.
And that's why they're able to control so much. I mean, if they make a law that a car needs to be a certain way, the entire United States is going to have to deal with it.
Right, because their population is just so massive.
And they contribute so much to the tax base, which this is a side tangent, but just to get it out there for anybody who doesn't realize this, if you live in a red state, you are almost certainly subsidized by the blue states. New York and California produce so much of the tax revenue that covers the food stamps, the Medicaid, Medicare for that matter, Social Security. Basically, if you're using anything that's coming from federal dollars at all in your state, up to and including having your bridges redone, your roads, anything like that, you are being subsidized by the people that you hate. So you're a red stater and you just can't stand those stupid fucking Democrat libtards. Well, they're paying for your health care and they're paying for your food stamps and they're paying for your roads and your libraries in some cases, if there's a grant, etc. So I just wanted to get that out there as a little side jab.
Well,
But anyway, I got us off topic. So you are or are not willing to vote for a left-wing Trump who would save the environment. Let's say he would literally
dude,
say,
at this point, every single election that I've participated in at the federal level has been, with the exception of maybe a couple congressmen or senators, has been the lesser of two evils. I mean, to the point where it was Hillary and Trump, I voted for the Green Party.
right,
And my thought process back then was, well, we're a red state. It doesn't matter. Now it's like, we're a purple state.
and it doesn't to you. I mean, that just seems like a terrible way to. I mean, it's just.
It was
terrible.
a really terrible, silly way to protest. Yes.
No, not you. Well, it is. It is.
Until that, like, I think the two parties should be abolished and something else should come in its place. But
Yeah.
there's too many billions of dollars involved in it for it to go away overnight.
Yeah, the only way you make change is by changing the monetary motivation. Like you just have to figure out how to move the money where it's going to make the change that you want. But
How are
yeah,
you
good
going to get
luck.
473 people to be like, yeah, maybe we don't need billions and millions of dollars to run for office?
I don't know, but are you referring to our House of Representatives?
Yeah.
I believe it's 430 or something. We'll put a correction on the screen. But in any
Oh,
event,
you're right, 428.
yeah,
I got dyslexic. The only reason I know is because of the
vote
FG
last
vote
night.
the other day.
Yeah.
The 427 to 1.
And man, I would love to talk about that. I want to talk about the release of the Epstein files, but
That's a whole different monster. We don't even do.
well, I try and keep the pod non-temporal so that people can watch it, 3 weeks
Yeah.
from now and it'll still be valid.
Still be valid.
So what else defines you? I mean, one of the things that you said defines you as a lefty is LGBTQ rights.
Right.
Let's go ahead and dive into that. Oh shit, should we? How long have we been recording? So, the point of the podcast, John, is to show people that even when someone is labeled as an extremist, they can still be a reasonable person to talk to.
Sure.
What kind of issues do you have where you can totally identify with where the right is coming from?
Oh,
Even if you don't necessarily agree, you can see their point, and you think it's a valid point.
oh man, I want to keep all my guns.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good one.
That's a good one.
Yeah, because
I mean, I support background checks.
Mhm.
I don't think you should be able to just go in and grab it and take off.
Right.
And I mean, and that's done in a limited form now, right? Like, you can't have a gun if you're a felon, and it'll bounce back.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, it gets so messy when you get to the actual enforcement angle. That's the problem.
Right, and straw man.
Straw man purchases, and like when you have red flag laws, you'll have.
I'm against red flag laws, by the way.
You are.
I think that's a terrible idea.
Well, fucking A, this guy's a Republican. No,
because what happens is all somebody has to do at that point is say, I think this person's unstable, right? And there's no stop in between there.
I don't know about that. I would have to research the actual laws and go read them.
Well, this is I'm using a slippery slope argument, right? Like,
no, I
we
get
give up
yeah.
this piece, and then this piece goes, and we.
But from what I understand, it doesn't flag. So to explain to the audience, a red flag law is basically if you are, as far as I understand it, is if you're involved in any kind of a domestic violence incident in certain states where they have these red flag laws, they can basically take your guns away.
That's already in the Brady Bill, man.
The Brady Bill isn't
you
even
have-
in effect anymore, is it?
Yeah, it is.
So that's what the waiting
100%.
period is? Because I thought the Brady Bill included the assault weapons ban. So did they?
The assault weapons thing that was an executive order, because
Because it expired.
Well, no, I
No,
think
it was a law
Clinton.
because it expired.
Uh, okay, I'd
Yeah.
have to research it. I'm not sure. I thought that Clinton signed it in, and then George W. nixed it when he came into office.
Okay, well, so
Which would
let's
be wild to. That can't be right, man. They can't control guns with an executive order.
make the clear point here, and this is kind of part of the problem with people talking in America, is if we were at the bar right now and we weren't on camera, we would most likely, well, not you and I, but some people would swear up and down that they're correct about absolutely everything they just said. And they would, just assume whatever they know.
Well,
So,
this is one of the reasons I like talking to you is because there is that. Like, I'm not real sure about that one,
right.
man. Like,
Yeah. And
no,
that's why I do corrections.
right. We're gonna Google it later.
Yeah. But the way that I understand red flag laws and the way I would argue about it if I were at the bar is that if you get convicted of, or even, yeah, basically, if there has been any kind of incident, so your wife calls the cops on you, they determine that there was some kind of incident, but it's still under investigation, nobody's been convicted yet, they can temporarily seize the weapons.
Right. That already exists in the Brady laws.
Okay, well, then there's.
Domestic violence is its own threshold.
But there's a what are you under the impression red flag laws are? Because if it's true that it's in the Brady bill, there would be no point. And I know
Right.
there's
So red
some
flag
states
laws
that have
are
it.
just saying like anyone that's mentally unstable, right?
I don't think that.
That's
Toss me my phone,
that's
please.
that's my understanding of it.
Okay, well let's get this straight, folks.
Are we just gonna Google it straight up and find out?
I do it all the
I
time.
love it.
We're not going to ask GPT. We're going to ask Gemini. Whenever I'm fact checking, I like to use Gemini because at least it has the backup of Google search results. Explain red flag laws to me. Here we go, folks. Pardon me. I'll cut out those coughs. Red flag laws, also known as extreme risk protection orders, allow a court to temporarily remove firearms from someone who is deemed a danger to themselves or others. Deemed. A family member, or in some states, a law enforcement officer, can petition a judge for an order after a person shows concerning behavior. The court issues a temporary order after reviewing evidence, and a full hearing is held where the person can present their case before a long-term order is potentially issued. And then let's clarify one more thing. Does the Brady bill already allow law enforcement to take away your guns if you're involved in a domestic violence dispute? The Brady bill itself did not directly grant law enforcement the authority to seize guns at the scene of a domestic violence dispute, but it laid the foundation for subsequent federal laws and state level procedures. The primary purpose was to conduct background checks, prevent certain categories of people from purchasing. It also prohibits individuals convicted of domestic violence or who are under a domestic violence protective order from possessing firearms. However, I don't understand. Yeah, as far as it acts with enforcement seizure, that is obviously a big can of worms.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it comes down to the enforcement. What are the cops supposed to do? Are they supposed to go in and search your entire house? Are they just supposed to ask you to turn them over? Like
They just ask you to turn them over.
well, the worst example that I saw was a guy. There was a red flag law that was enacted from law enforcement. But the judge only allowed the guns that were on his home property to be seized. That was all that was specified in the order.
Mhm.
It didn't specify his vehicle. So he had been in a domestic violence dispute. He was deemed dangerous to others. Cops came. They knew he had a gun in his truck. And they said, "Give us the gun." He said, "No, because it's not on the order. I only have to give you what's in my house." And they were forced to comply. And shortly after they left, he killed his wife. So, and anybody can look up what that case was. I'll put a link to it on the screen. But that to me shows that just when it gets to the enforcement angle, it's like you can make all the good-hearted laws you want about gun control, but if it's impossible to enforce in an effective way, then what the fuck is the point?
Dude, I live in Arizona. I purchased a shotgun at a yard sale.
Right.
Like,
Yeah. I mean, you can get a gun anywhere, so it's like
it's not like you have to go. It only really messes with gun stores. So yeah, I'm big about gun ownership,
hmm as I am.
right? And I mean, I think I saw something the other day where gun ownership, this is one of the few Republican administrations where gun purchases have actually gone up, is because lefties are buying guns.
Right, yeah, no,
Right?
absolutely
Normally,
true.
when it's a Democrat president, all the Republicans are scared that their gun rights are going away, so they start hoarding stuff.
Right.
And this time, the Democrats are scared of political violence.
So as a leftist who obviously is a gun owner, how do you feel about, so what a right winger would say is, look, there's no point to gun laws because people, number one, break the law. And if you're a criminal, you're gonna just break the law and get it. Let me finish. I know you're um, but so that's the right wing argument is like you can make all the laws you want. If you've got a criminal, they're not following the fucking laws anyway. And then they will say, look at the example of Chicago, where you can't buy a gun and they have the highest gun rate. So on the first point, or on the second point on Chicago, yes, they have the strictest laws because they have the most gun violence. Like, it's like, people were getting in a lot of car accidents, so we mandated seatbelts, but that didn't make car accidents just go away. Like, the guns are going to come from somewhere else, and they already had a huge gun problem. So yes, that's why it's the reverse. So the Republicans are like cause and effect. I'm like effect and cause. You've got it backwards.
Well, I mean, guns are stupid illegal in Mexico.
You're right.
Right?
That's why they filter from us down to there.
Yeah, they bring us drugs, we bring them guns. It works out.
Okay, but what do you say about the valid Republican argument that, look, you can make all the guns you want. It's almost impossible to enforce. And the best argument I ever heard was from John Oliver, who said, it was someone on John Oliver's show who was talking to a gun rights advocate, and the guy said, criminals are criminals, they're going to break the law anyway. So the interviewer said, so then we should get rid of drug laws because no one follows the laws anyway. And he goes, well,
maybe.
So where do you land on it?
So where I land on it is where I land on a lot of things. Like, you're never going to be, nothing is 100% certain, right? And someone that really has a plan, really going to go do something stupid, yeah, they're probably going to be able to find a gun, right? Or they're going to improvise something else. Okay? Right. Then it's the same with, if someone wants drugs, they're going to find drugs, right?
But you still need to have some laws against
right,
them.
Right, you need to have laws against it. And it's the argument of, say, SNAP benefits, right? Where people are abusing them, right? But you have all these other people that aren't. That's the same, right? And so, like...
the vast majority aren't.
Right, this one person over here is getting some free Snickers bars, man, and this person over here that came and walked to work gets to eat.
So it would be fair. I like that you brought that up because it makes a perfectly fair argument that, okay, so if we're going to get rid of gun laws and just make it literally a free-for-all, then, or what your argument was, there's only a few people who are misusing SNAP benefits. Meanwhile, they're incredibly useful to the vast majority of people. Same thing with guns. So
you should Google how many private how many private guns are in the U.S. Like, it's an
yeah, it's three times the population. That's what it is.
Yeah,
it hovers around 3 times what the population is.
It's wild.
Meanwhile, only 15% of people are holding those guns. Well, now it might be a little bit higher. It might be up to like 18.
Yeah, I have no idea. But yeah, it's a ridiculous amount of firearms.
Yeah, but it's in a small number of people's hands. And even a tiny subset of those people are misusing guns. So it's like, if you want to get rid of SNAP benefits because a few people are abusing them, why don't we get rid of guns? Because a lot of people are not misusing them, but there are a few who are misusing them.
So the thing about gun violence is when someone does misuse it, it's huge, right? And there has to be some kind of middle ground that we can come to. Because we're the only country that just, sometimes our kids get shot. Like,
right.
It sucks, but if only we could figure out a way to fix it. And I don't think taking guns away from everybody's the way to fix it. I think better mental health and support is a great way to fix it.
But that's such a bullshit argument, and I'm sorry to say that.
It is.
But specifically the mental illness thing, yeah, we don't want people who are very mentally ill to have guns. But at the same time, all of the major shootings that have happened, I mean, the big ones, the person wasn't mentally ill. We don't even know why they did it half the time.
Yeah.
So, mental illness, if you cure,
I'm not saying that maybe that was too broad of a term. Um, let's go back to the OG. Let's talk about Columbine, right? Which was terrible. They had pipe bombs, they had everything, right? Those kids were getting bullied every day and just broke, right? Which led to a lot of anti-bullying stuff at our schools and lots of laws and rules about bullying online and all, because it's an issue, right? And it does drive people to do stupid, crazy things. So the thing of the Columbine and that mass shooting, it changed how we looked at bullying. It changed how, but we haven't changed anything since, and we haven't figured out why this is happening, other than to say that yeah, people are getting shot.
Okay.
Not only that, kids are getting shot. With the exception of say Aurora or Las Vegas or
yeah,
overwhelmingly it tends to happen at schools, which is terrifying.
Yeah.
And sad.
And we
More
just
than anything,
accept it.
it's just like when it happens, we just kind of like there's not even outrage anymore. There's not even an outpouring of love anymore. It's just like, oh, another kid got shot. And it's just sad that that's where we are as a country.
Yeah, it is sad.
That we accept that now.
It's particularly crazy because you look at a country like Switzerland, and they basically have an even higher gun ownership level than we do.
Yeah, they have conscription, and you have to have a gun.
And yet they have virtually no gun violence. And it's just so obvious that, here's the thing that's got me tearing up right now is we just literally don't care. I mean, it's so ingrained in our society that gun rights above all else that we just don't care that our kids are being shot, that our kids are being killed. And the NRA and the gun lobby has been so powerful, and I can't wrap my head around how they got so powerful, because as a percentage of corporate activity in America, they're not anywhere close to other sectors. And I don't understand how I don't understand why the Congress people who accept the donations and who give the speeches, I don't understand how they think the NRA's money is so much more important than anybody else's, that it's been worth this.
It's their endorsement, it's not their money. Like every senator, representative, presidential candidate gets a rating from the NRA. Right? Yeah. Like A+ rating means that you don't want anyone's gun rights. Like we're fine right where we're at. In fact, how about we bring back bump stocks?
Right.
All the way to an F where it's like, hey, we need to confiscate the guns. And both arguments exist in our country. Like there are people that advocate for just taking all the guns away.
Look, but is there a happy medium? Because you and me don't feel that way. Let me ask you.
We're not going to solve this one today, Doug.
No, but let me ask you, let's say they did come and take the guns away. Let's say that, like Australia, we did a gun buyback program. The government said you may no longer have any type of weapon except if you get a special permit. Has to be, you have to have a good reason to own it. You have to be trained on it. And they said, we will buy you. It's illegal. You have to take money in exchange for your gun unless you get a special permit. And let's say that they came to you and said, the reason we're doing this is to eliminate school shootings. We're fed up with it. We're getting rid of all the guns in the country unless you have a very special permit. It's going to cost you a little bit of money. You're going to have to go through an 8-hour class. You're going to have to have a damn good reason to own it. And you're going to have to keep it at an armory when you're not using it. And you're going to have to check your gun in and out. Let's say it got that extreme.
What use would be having a gun if you had to go check it out from an armory?
Well, that's the point. We're eliminating it as a self-defense. That's not a good... No, I want it because I protect my family. Nope, too bad. You can't have it.
Okay, so
Would
There's
you make the
something-
trade-off?
Well, something like that already exists here, right? Like, you and I could own a howitzer. We can own a Thompson machine gun or a fully automatic M16, right? We just have to get the right tax stamp.
But
And that's how they got rid of us fully automatic weapons to begin with, is they said, hey, you have to have a tax stamp. And then they just never gave anyone the tax stamp.
But I'm asking you to go through a moral thought experiment. It's a simple question. Would you make the trade-off? Let's say that it would eliminate school shootings, but you have to give your guns up. Are you willing to do it to eliminate school shootings? I don't know the answer for myself.
You know what? I'm not.
Now, this is assuming that almost everybody also gave up their guns, so you no longer have to protect yourself against other people who have guns. Let's say the FBI even raided you. It's pretty easy to know who has an armory at their house with 600 guns, because these days they put themselves on YouTube. So it's not going to be hard to find
Not
these
the
guys.
smart ones, man.
Yeah, right, yeah. But for the vast majority of irresponsible gun owners are going to lose their guns. Would you be willing to give it up to eliminate all this violence?
I don't think so.
No?
I don't think so. And that's
No problem.
that is the problem, right? Because this is something that was enshrined in our Constitution
Mm-hmm.
to protect against a tyrannical government, right?
But
Like,
our
that's the whole
weapons
point.
won't be effective in that way, and you know that. That's a
these-
false argument.
That is a false argument.
It
these
used to
days.
be a valid argument.
Yeah.
We can't fight against drones,
Or
and we can't fight against SWAT teams
Apache helicopters.
and Apaches and FBI agents and ATF, and Trump has essentially made every federal employee some type of a deputy. So we've got ATF employees out there rounding up immigrants right now.
Yeah.
So apparently we can use anybody for anything. So the idea that you can protect yourself against this massive force without having an organized militia, the way that the Constitution actually said, which that militia, by the way, just for interpretation's sake, is the National Guard. Each state has its own National Guard. That is the militia that's mentioned in the Constitution. So if you create your own militia, that's actually not what they meant. They meant an organized force that is to protect a state against the federal government.
In the Second Amendment, people fight over commas, man. Like, the
Yeah.
comma is right here, and this is what they meant.
Yeah, but to me, come on, you just look back at what was happening when they wrote it, and it's pretty obvious what they meant. You don't.
Yeah.
People who are interpretationalists as opposed to originalists or whatever the words are, people who think that it's a living document, versus it meant what it meant. If you think it meant what it meant, then it's a useless amendment. I mean, it is. What you can't fight against a tyrannical government. You just can't.
You can try.
Hey, go ahead and try, but you just can't do it on an individual basis. So to think that if you own 100 guns and you have a compound in southern Arizona and you have 40 individuals who are well-trained former Marines who are on that compound, and the government decides they're coming to seize your weapons, you are not winning that battle. You are not going to wind up killing every agent who comes. The agents aren't going to stop coming, and you're not going to get on some helicopter and fly off to Bermuda. It ain't going to happen. Everybody on your compound is going to get shot and die. So the idea that you can, as an individual, protect yourself against a tyrannical government is ridiculous. But we do have a National Guard. And if the federal government were to do something that a governor felt was seriously encroaching on the state's rights in a dangerous way or something, that is technically his own little army or her own little army to fight against the federal government. We don't view it that way. It's never been used that way, and that's now not the intention. But originally, it kind of was.
Right. And I get what you're saying, man. Quite frank, to use a terrible analogy, all right?
I love terrible
I
analogies.
love terrible analogies.
I'm great at them.
All right? I would win a fight against the Black Widow. I'm still going to give that Black Widow a lot of respect.
How did her husband die?
Huh?
How did her husband die? Oh, you mean a spider?
I mean the spider.
Spider. Okay, right.
I mean like a literal, or a scorpion, right? Like, that scorpion couldn't kill me, but it has the potential to make my life miserable,
Right.
right? And throughout our history, you look at anything that really turned public opinion in the U.S., it's been some kind of death of somebody,
Right.
right? You go Boston Massacre, Kent State, you know, the
Columbine.
yeah, Columbine. Like, it's somebody dies and everybody's just like, all right, this is a problem. That's
Right.
why we keep a couple people in Germany. It's not because we're actually defending in Germany. It's that Russia bombs Germany, or Poland for that matter. 500 guys aren't going to do a lot, right?
Yeah.
But if one American dies,
It sends a signal.
and the entire and the U.S. will get behind it,
Right.
right? We'll all rally.
Now you've finally completed the analogy. So now I get it. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So it's not that we win.
It's that we make a stand.
Right. And I mean, if you go back to like Waco, Ruby Ridge, those were huge scandals. Right? Especially Ruby Ridge. And I don't remember all the details of it. I was really young.
Well, Waco was, I mean, I can see Waco happening in my head.
Yeah. I remember
terrifying.
watching it on the evening news.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just seeing the burning building and
didn't
knowing
they catch
that
it
there
on
were
fire
children in there.
themselves? Like,
Yeah, they set it on fire.
Yeah. Like they just weren't going to surrender no matter what.
But again, perfect example why so that's making your point though. Yeah, I see what your point is. That because of what happened, well, really all that happened after Waco was we had to review ATF and FBI procedures.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's about it.
Yeah.
But they did change in a good way, and it did take all those deaths to make that change. And it was a tyrannical government in those people's opinion. So what about all of and we'll take a break after this.
Okay.
So this will be my last question before we break. But what about the immigration raids that are happening right now? That is clearly tyrannical behavior.
100%.
It's illegal behavior.
100%.
Shouldn't those people, particularly if they are a U.S. citizen, being rounded up by those agents, isn't this the time to protect yourself with your gun that you have because of an amendment that says you can protect yourself against tyranny?
And I'm not for a second advocating shooting at.
I'm not either, but I'm saying, well, my point is, and I want to be really clear too, that's not my point.
Oh, well, before we delve into this, I'm not advocating
my
that.
My point is on this is that, look, clearly nobody's going to do that, and I'm not advocating for it either, but it's a serious point. How tyrannical does the government have to get before it's considered being in line with that amendment to protect oneself? I mean, how bad does the tyranny have to get?
I think the point when the tyranny gets that bad is when we no longer have the right to protest it, and we no longer have the right to speak about it.
Right.
Right? Like, we still have guys, and as much as Trump hates that people are protesting in front of his ICE facilities, they still have the right to do it. And most of the local law enforcement is actually protecting.
What constitutes having the right to do it? I mean, you saw that preacher who's literally praying for the agents on the roof, and he gets shot in the head with a fucking pepper ball.
Yeah.
With a gun.
Absolutely deplorable. Like, terrible.
Well, you call that having the right to protest? Because I don't. If you're going to shoot me with pepper balls if I protest in the head, when my form of protest is praying on your behalf, how bad does the tyranny have to get? Here's my point is, look, if the government is going to come to your compound like Waco, and they're going to basically try and raid and take all your shit and, move your kids around and whatever, those people considered that bad enough tyranny that they used their weapons in order to fight against the tyrannical government. If you are a Mexican right now whose home is being raided by a bunch of agents dressed up like military fatigues, and they're going to take your children, and they're going to break your windows and doors down, and they're going to potentially shoot you, how is that not analogous? Why would it not be morally right for that Mexican to protect his or her family, unless you believe that what they were doing in Waco was bullshit? They weren't protecting their rights. They were just wackos in Waco. It's a valid question. Like, how tyrannical does it have to get on an individual basis?
I think that's a personal thing. I mean, you can go back to the whole thing up in Idaho with the Bundys. You remember that one?
The Bundys?
The Bundys.
I don't.
So
you're not talking about Ted Bundy.
No, I'm not talking. I'm talking about a family that just had the last name.
Oh! You mean the cattle.
Their lease was up on their land,
right? And they were using BLM land to raise their cattle.
Right, and BLM said, "Hey, we're not going to renew your lease." Those leases are 50 to 100 years old.
Yeah, but come on. I mean, that was are you telling me that you were on their side on that one?
No, absolutely not.
Okay. Because
Right, but those guys felt that their family had the right to that, and that they were going to defend that land.
and they won essentially in the standoff, the first one,
Yeah,
and then it wound up being court cases.
right.
And the guys actually showed up non-violently to court, and they're still trying to fight for their right to graze their cattle on land that they don't own,
Exactly.
which is so bizarre to me. Like,
Well, I mean, the same thing could happen here very easily.
no, very easily. I mean,
They're, the cattle used to be grazed all over. Now it's just for recreation. There's no cows out there anymore.
well, there are though in between.
Oh, there's tons and tons in between here,
Right.
but not.
Right.
And I might be wrong about that too. There might be some spot that I'm unaware of.
Well, so ouch. Ooh, Jesus, getting old sucks. Okay, well, so here's where we found ourselves is we've gotten nowhere. We're talking about an intractable problem that the United States has been tackling with for 250 or working with for 250 years, and since we've gotten ourselves nowhere, we're going to get ourselves somewhere, which is outside to puff our vapes and take a little break and regroup here and figure out where we're going to go with the next segment. So thank you for your patience, dear listener and dear viewer. This is Reason Rises. I'm Doug V, and we will be right back.